So here we are, 2023. We're in the first month, Q1, and so many questions. Buyers, sellers, nobody really seems to have the real footing underneath them in this market. And, that's probably due to a couple of things. Buyers have enjoyed unbelievably low rates for years and years. And sellers are probably coming off of what's been the best real estate market in the history of real estate markets. And so it's a brave new world now. Rates are in the fives to the sevens. Actually, fives would be great. They're probably somewhere hovering around the mid sixes. And sellers are actually having to find that they need to work with someone who's got a real skill set. In other words, homes aren't immediately flying off the shelf with multiple offers. And so the newspapers and television, it's kind of filled with doom and gloom. And me personally, I think that our team sees a market full of opportunity coming in 2023, but it's not going to be in the traditional sense that it has been for the last 5 to 6 years. I think that what we're going to see, let's talk about buyers first. I think that buyers are going to get used to a new normal. They're going to realize that you can't stay in the past with rates that you would have enjoyed, woulda, shoulda, coulda have. And so the new reality is you're going to be having a higher mortgage payment. It's going to force you to do things like shop a little more conservatively, or it's going to cause you to look at property subtypes that maybe you wouldn't have looked at before. Ultimately, homeownership is the goal. And so when the alternative is renting or not having your own property autonomy, it's just going to start to make more and more sense. And so I do expect us to have a relatively good and strong spring, because the same reasons that drive consumers to purchase homes, like, they haven't gone anywhere. Likewise with sellers, right? Death, divorce, baby, new job, moving in, moving out, something's happening, life events, all those things come together for both buyers and sellers. And so if you're a buyer, I think that it doesn't make any sense to rent anything long-term unless you're in a transition or maybe you're moving into a new city. And even then, I wouldn't do anything long-term. And so we do know that the house is like the number one asset from an appreciation standpoint, from a wealth building standpoint. It just makes more sense. And so short answer to my rambling here is that buyers are going to see the light and they're going to come back to the market. If I'm a seller right now, the first thing I have to do in order to be at peace and not have anxiety is I have to stop telling myself that I should have sold last year or I should have sold at the very end of 2021, right? If we were really that good at timing the market, then I'd be playing a lot more blackjack down on the strip. Like, I have to tell you that the reality is that the market is what the market is. The good news is that we're in an incredibly constricted inventory right now, and that's nationwide. And so basically what that means is that builders just didn't build enough after 07, 08, and homes are still in short supply. Desirable homes are still selling very, very fast. And so it's really going to be a question of, what do you need from the sale and what's your exit strategy? Like, what do you want to do? Downsize, upsize? Are you making a move? Is this just something that you want to liquidate? You really have to sit down with a professional and take a look at your overall plan. It's not just as simple as selling. You really have to figure out, I'm going to sell, now what do I do? And so I think that sellers are going to ask themselves more cautious questions. But I do think that the need to sell is still there and the need to buy is still there. So ultimately, I would say as we approach a balanced market, we're not there yet. I don't believe that we are. I think that buyers have a little more authority than they used to when it comes to making offers. But overall, when I look at inventory and absorption rates, specifically here in the Southwest in these markets, I just don't see it. I think that we're not in a balanced market yet, and that sellers are still doing fairly well, and buyers kind of have to come to terms with what they want and what they're willing to pay. And so hopefully this has been a little informative and giving you something to chew on. I'm not the market Svengali. I certainly don't know everything, but I read a lot and I study the numbers, and I feel like numbers really win out over sentiment and emotion, because the market is just going to do what it needs to do regardless of whether it's working for you or it's not working for you. So at the end of the day, no matter which side of the coin you're on, and that's home seller, home buyer, investor, whatever you are, I'm happy to sit down and talk to you and get you a roadmap for whatever it is that you want to do. Real estate is a get rich slow game. And so we're happy to be on that long ride with you, whether it's today, tomorrow, 6 months from now, it's okay. But let's get you educated and let's figure out a fantastic game plan for you. Let's make it a win-win. I love it.